It's the only South African Cape Dutch architecture in Napa Valley. The winery was founded by a South African couple in 1983, and they built this beautiful building. The moment that people kind of walk up and see the architecture and walk through the door, we're trying to provoke thought. We're trying to have them have an interesting experience. So we have an artist here today who's installed a show of her works, and you're going to get to meet her today. She's in the winery, and we can go in and start our fun.
Renee Schuler is a Chicago-based artist working in multimedia techniques.
This show is called Cameo. I sculpt the figures onto the canvas, kind of in the same way that cameos were created. They were sculpted. But also because I have several different styles of work in this show, all of them sort of making a cameo appearance for the very first time. I have bronze sculptures, I have steel wire sculptures, I have oil paintings, I have works on paper, India inks, mixed media. I've never shown them in one place before.
I try to convey a sense of strength and peace and serenity, and I try to convey all of that through the technique. I only use a palette knife when I paint, and I apply multiple layers of paint, and I kind of apply it and I take it back and I scratch and hack at the surface just to create a bit of tension on there.
Texture and combination of colours is a hallmark of Renee's work.
At the time I painted these, I had a show that was moving from Paris to Greece, and so I was inspired by the colors of Greece, and I was using fashion models as my muses for the work, and I just created this triptych for that exhibition.
Being that we're at a winery, Renee painted a series of wine bottles. It's for a special collaboration with John Tolato called The Artist and the Artisan.
We were talking about her art and our art, ours being inside the bottle, hers being more visible. And so I thought maybe you could put some original works of art on the outside of the bottles. Our art will be on the inside. I didn't realize the complexity of painting on glass. Renee did, but she agreed to do it anyway.
It's a bit of a process. You have to etch the glass, and then I used a self-etching primer to go on next, and then it's just multiple layers of acrylic paint, and then varnish.
A focal point of the show is a large canvas called Hope. Renee says she paints in an abstract style. Renee curated the show and chose where she wanted to display each work of art. John's family, his father Antony and brother Bill, have owned Chimney Rock since 2004. Both his grandfathers began as wine retailers in Chicago.
My father joined the company, his father's retail store in 1955, and had this dream that someday he wanted to be a winemaker. So he went from the retail business in Chicago to wholesale, to import to export to winery ownership in about 40 years. Our mantra as a family is that quality endures, and we believe that really high quality things are potentially multi-generational.
That's why art is so important to John, inside or outside the bottle.
What we're trying to do with our wines, when people put our wines to their lips and they taste them, is to make them think about it, right? To make them think about a place, to make them think about something that they're tasting. I think art's very much the same way. So is music, and so is architecture.
The first annual Aston Martin Festival attracted car lovers from all around the world. This unique event gave Aston Martin owners an opportunity to connect with TRG Aston Martin Racing and enjoy the many sections of entertainment throughout the festival.
This is a fantastic weekend we put together all about the celebration of the brand. One of the many things we're doing this weekend is running the actual GT4 Challenge Series race. It's a racing series built around the Vantage GT4 race car for gentlemen drivers. And there are a bunch of guys out here this weekend. They're having a ball with their track day cars, and they're about to go start the race right now, which is great. And we have people here that are fans of the brand. They brought their street cars, just casual observers. There's people that are taking corporate rides and drives in these cars. So we have some corporations who brought their guests and executives down. It's just a fantastic, it's like a spinning top circus going all around here, all around the Aston Martin Racing brand. everyone's having a great time. We have some epic, beautiful vintage DB5, DB6, DB2s from the old days. They were even giving some rides. I saw people going around in an open top old Aston, and they were hands out the window waving, going by the start finish. It was great. So there's fans of the early period correct cars. There's fans of the modern day street cars that are here. Aston Martin has brought their entire street car lineup with a group of experienced drivers giving rides on the track and showing the performance of the car. And I think people were really blown away. These new cars that Aston's producing from the street car side are scary fast, and they perform really well here on the track. And then of course, we have both our GT4, which is our entry-level racing program, and our GT3s, which are our bad boys that run in several different classes here in the US. So we have a lot going on.
The private dinner continued through the evening with great laughs, amazing food, martinis, and more.
So last night here at the track, up at the Corporate Events Center, we had a fantastic evening. We had 150 people walk in, they passed through the greeting area, the champagne bar, the girls in registration, the step and repeat for all the photographs, and then go inside, and we had the beautiful ice carving with the Aston Martin logos on it, and the martini bar. It was kind of cool. You put the gin in the top and it comes out through the corkscrew and the ice carving for your martini. We had some wonderful food and wine around the room, and then Al Stewart, the singer-songwriter from the 70s, played for us privately last night, which was fantastic. We have this amazing staff of people, and it's very multifaceted here. We have a crew out on the wall making sure the race cars are getting run properly and cycled through. We have the mechanics back here in the paddock area fixing the cars if there's any problems. And there's the food and wine and everything going on upstairs. So everyone's doing a lot. Again, we're spinning up 6 or 7 different plates all at once, keeping them going. Just seeing the smiles from the kids to the grandmas that were here this weekend, that makes me happy, because I worked for 4 months. Our staff just went after it, especially the last couple of weeks. It's been night and day, and the results speak for themselves today.
007 fans, following the Racers Group or wanting to know more about this elite brand, join us for an event near you to experience more fun and excitement with Kevin Buckler and the TRG Aston Martin Racing Team. For more information, go to trg-astonmartinracing.com.
What inspired me to be an artist was really a lot of how I grew up. I moved around quite a bit, and I was alone a lot. And I think that my art was a way for me to find peace with that and express my emotions and just feel kind of sure about at least one thing. And I continued doing it all through school. I've been to many schools and had many addresses, and so it was just the one constant. And it always made me feel good to create. You know, all of the things around me that I didn't want to be experiencing, and just, you know, being alone so much, it was a way for me to escape feeling lonely. I'm inspired by human nature and emotions and sort of spiritual connections with things. And I think that I try to achieve a lot of that through the work that I'm doing. So with the colors express different emotions. With the amount of texture on a piece, I express that sort of thing. The amount of distress, and that sort of thing I put in the surface of the paint. All of those things help to convey whatever the piece is about. Every piece has a story all its own. My process has changed a great deal. I've kind of evolved through a lot of different styles and mediums, partially because I've always made a living through my art. So I've worked in every kind of art form, sculpting, stained glass, mosaics, working with acrylics, watercolors, inks, whatever it was, I was doing it. And I think all of those experiences really led into the way I work now. And I probably in the last decade or so zeroed in on what things I really like about the way I work. Namely, I focused in on the fact that I love texture. I love, a lot of surface tension and movement and those kinds of things. And so I really brought it all into the work that I create now. I've got work in 2 permanent museum collections now. I'd like to see that continue. The work itself, I think I just need to keep getting better. I want to keep evolving and growing through the work and expressing that much more. I want to continue to strengthen my connection with each piece that I create, which is just so important to me. And it's something that can get lost in the process of doing what I do. I've been really lucky in how well my work is doing. At my last couple of shows have completely sold out. So keeping up is a challenge for me, but I'm trying to stay really focused on maintaining the connections to each piece. And so that just takes a little bit more strength of mind. In the last couple of years, I've been exhibiting in wonderful places, Paris, France, Rome, Paxos, Greece, Beirut. I'm about to show in Singapore. So definitely, this is new for me, but it's exciting. It's just great to get it out there in front of different people.
Renee is a resident of Carmel and Chicago, however finds more of a connection to the sandy beaches of California.
Once I hit Ocean Drive, I felt like I was home. It was the greatest feeling. It just surged right through me, and it made me think about why we came here in the first place. And part of my process with how I paint involves sort of meditating and centering in on a thought or idea or concept, and that's what goes into every piece. And being here in such a wonderful, idyllic place really helps me to focus that much more on the work that I'm creating.
If you are interested in experiencing Renee's art, visit her website at reneeschuler.com or take a trip up north to Napa at the beautiful Chimney Rock Winery, where you can sip a glass of wine and enjoy Renee's art exhibition.
Peace of Mind Dog Rescue started 5 years ago, and it's actually this little girl here, Savannah, who was the inspiration for Peace of Mind. Her guardian, Alice, was dying of emphysema, and she was at hospice at the time, and I was taking care of Savannah while Alice was at hospice and bringing her in to visit with her. And at one of those visits, where the doctors had told Alice to get all of her affairs in order, she was talking to me about she didn't know what was going to happen to Savannah, and she actually thought about euthanizing her so that she wouldn't end up in a shelter and feel abandoned. And in that moment, I said, don't worry, I will make sure that she's okay, I'll take care of her. And when I left that visit, the whole idea for Peace of Mind Dog Rescue just came to me, the name and the focus of taking in dogs from people who were dying, elderly, going into nursing homes. And I contacted my co-founder, Monica Rua, and let her know about the idea. And she said, that's great, I'm in, I want to help, but let's also help the senior dogs that end up in shelters. So that's our dual mission, is taking in dogs from senior people and taking in senior dogs from shelters. Our focus area is our Tri-County area, Monterey County, Santa Cruz County, and San Benito County. And about half of the dogs come to us from shelters, and the other half come from people who can no longer care for them. We get calls from all over the country, actually, because there aren't a lot of organizations who take in dogs from people who are too ill to take care of them anymore. One of the things that we really want to do is help keep dogs and people together as long as possible. One of the people who inspired us to start the Helping Paw program was Patricia Bauer, who then donated our headquarters to us. And she was dying of cancer. She had 2 dogs, Maddie and Morgan, and she actually called us to surrender the dogs to us. But when we met with her, we said, how about if we have volunteers come over and walk your dogs every day for you, take them to the vet, take them to the groomer, and then they can stay with you. So those dogs stayed with Mrs. Bauer until the day that she passed away. And now we do that for other people who are in the hospital for a week. We'll go and we'll take their dog, we'll provide temporary care, but so that people who can no longer take care of their dogs but they're still at home, they can keep their dogs with them. Our funding comes about 90-95% just from private donations from the public. We do also do some fundraising, and we write grants to private foundations. We have one big main fundraiser a year, which we call our Oldies But Goodies party, and it's silent auction and music, and it's really a celebration of the dogs. It's an outdoor event where the dogs are invited, so we have adoptable dogs, and a lot of the dogs who have been adopted come, and that happens every June in Carmel. But most of the money just comes from people like me and you who give $50, $100, $200 a year, here and there, whatever they can, and it all makes up the bundle that we use to pay for our main expenses, medical care for the dogs. When we bring in senior dogs, they typically are not in great shape, even if they've been with somebody. We need to do an exam, blood work. A lot of them need to have their teeth cleaned. Some have infected teeth that need to be removed. And then we sometimes find some other health issues with some of the older dogs. Arthritis is real common, and we need to treat that. So that's where most of the funding comes from, is from people, and then it goes mostly to the medical care. And we try to educate people about thinking ahead about what would happen to my dog if something happens to me. They can leave a pet trust to go along with their dog, but we also take in dogs all the time where people don't have, they're on Social Security, they don't have any money to go along with the dog, but they pre-arrange with us, so we meet the dog beforehand and make a commitment to them, and we fill out a pet profile with them so we know everything about the dog, their likes and dislikes, and where their vet records are and what toys they like.
Peace of Mind let me know that fostering was a way I could volunteer and help these dogs find a forever home. I hope you'll consider it too.
We're giving them peace of mind that we will be there for them. If something happens to them, we will take in their dog.
The 2014 Yacht Luxury Experience kicked off in beautiful Monterey Bay. guests loaded in for an exciting evening of fun.
I'm Nicholas Frankel. I'm the founder and CEO of My Yacht Group. We brought Acania here to Monterey Marina into the Pebble Beach Concours for the second time in its history. Acania was built in 1929 by Consolidated Shipyards in New York City, commissioned by the legendary Alphonse Capone, Al Capone. Acania's plan is to stay on the West Coast. It's available for charter, and in fact, Mr. Olson has decided to go into partnership so that he can have partners also participate in the amazing experience of running a yacht like this. So it's almost becoming a little bit of a fractional ownership with Mr. Olson running it, and it'll be here on the West Coast, and I think at some point it'll go over to the East Coast as well. It'll be in San Francisco Bay, here in Monterey, and down in Los Angeles, and in Newport Beach. And you know, if you've never been on this boat and you've always wanted to go for a cruise around Catalina Island or around the Bay of San Francisco, I can only tell you to try this. It is the most unique experience you will have, maritime on a yacht. It's absolutely incredible. The most amazing thing about Acania is the character of the boat. You can't build this anymore. It took 6 months to build the boat when it was new. It took 5 years to refurbish. More than $10 million. Painstaking, absolutely extraordinary, piece by piece, being put back together with all the latest equipment, so new engines, Wi-Fi, and air conditioning, and heating, but retaining the great decor, both inside and outside of the yacht, and all of the fine details and the mahogany bars. So all of that is still original, but it's been, of course, been updated to 21st century. So you know, just to have the chance to bring it here to Pebble Beach, and to have the chance to bring guests on board from all over the world. I mean, we have probably $25 billion worth of guests. We have everything from Olympic athletes to decathletes to actors, models, NFL Hall of Fame players, international car collectors, some of the largest Ferrari collectors in the world. All of these people here on Acania are having an incredible, incredible time, and sharing something which I think they'll all remember for a very long time.
The detail in the restoration is pristine. This yacht has a history unlike any other. The spiral staircase shows elegant detail as you walk up in style. Powered by this complex engine room, only the captain and his crew can guide this ship in the right direction. It doesn't matter if you are outside the ship enjoying some fresh air or relaxing inside with friends. You are guaranteed an experience you won't forget.
When given the opportunity to sit down in the relaxed comfort of Carmen Policy's sprawling Napa Valley residence, which on this particular morning is enhanced with the muffled exuberance of his 3.5-year-old grandson in the background, it is difficult to comprehend that he is the hard-charging NFL executive and tough guy defending counsel we've all been privy to in the print media. He and Gail, his wife of 20 years, share a transparent demeanor and a casual elegance that has allowed the transition into their Napa Valley lifestyle appear to be without challenge. His early association with Eddie DeBartolo Sr., whom he refers to as old world nobility, placed him in the queue for making history.
If you want to talk about being in the right place at the right time with the right people, there I was when Eddie owned the 49ers, and he assigned to me as my first official duty with the 49ers the responsibility of negotiating and completing Bill Walsh's first contract. From that point forward, it was all show business, and it was all just one amazing, exciting, and wonderful experience after another.
He and his family are currently reaping the benefits of his life's harvest, along with those of their relatively young Napa Valley vineyard, Casa Piena, which he purchased and developed with his team in 2003. He has settled into the fourth quadrant, but certainly not the last chapter of his life, comfortably sipping a glass of his Casa Piena Cabernet. Casa Piena means full house in Italian. Policy has 3 sons and 2 daughters. One might say Carmen Policy is very kindred to his Casa Piena Cabernet. Complex, but subtle. Fabulous when it opens up, and definitely better with age.